In a shocking twist of fate, the most powerful and ruthless king from a dystopian world is reborn as a helpless newborn in a medieval Isekai realm. The moment he opens his eyes, he finds a man and woman smiling down at him like proud parents. They're staring at him with love in their eyes, saying how he looks like both of them and celebrating the arrival of their newest family member. The father, Reynolds, decides to name him Arthur and immediately tries to get the baby to call him Papa. The mother, Alice, laughs and says he's still way too young for that. While the two of them goof around with their new child, Arthur is just lying there, confused. He has no clue who these freaking people are or why they're acting like they're his damn parents. If they're telling the truth, then that means he died in his old life and somehow got reborn with his memories intact. Gazing up at the starry night sky, Arthur can hardly believe that, after his countless victories and ruthless world domination, the Supreme Being has reduced him to a feeble infant. It's humiliating. And the worst part? He has to burp like a baby now. The secondhand embarrassment is unreal. It's not that he hates this new life. His parents are caring, and they seem genuinely happy to have him. But that doesn't change how uncomfortable he feels. Diapers are annoying, and there's always this nagging fear that someone might try to hurt him while he's helpless. So, the only thing he can do to stay on guard is to clench his tiny fist. Reynolds sees this and smiles, thinking it's adorable. He slips his finger into Arthur's little hand and calls Alice over to show her how much their son loves him. Arthur, meanwhile, is still struggling to move, and in the middle of all that effort, he accidentally poops himself. Now his mom has to deal with it, and the shame hits so hard that he almost tears up. He just wants this absurd dream to be over, but it's not a dream, it's real. And this is the new life he's stuck with. Still, things take a strange turn when Arthur notices something unusual. Reynolds suddenly uses magic to boost his strength. Just like that, his body surges with power. Then Alice steps in, using healing magic on him like it's second nature. Arthur's never seen anything like it. Magic didn't exist in his world, so watching it happen right in front of him is fascinating. He wants to understand it, but for now, he knows he has to grow up first. Later, Reynolds heads into the forest and takes down a beast using his strengthening magic. Not long after, a few of his friends show up to hang out. Back to our baby hero. Since there isn't much else for him to do, he starts analyzing everything around him. He pays attention to every little detail and soaks in as much information as possible. Because if there's one truth that holds across every world, it's that knowledge is power. Reynolds eventually returns home after his hunting trip, and Arthur finds himself wondering whether society allows everyone to carry weapons. If that's the case, then it must mean the outside world is dangerous enough to make it necessary. That only confirms to him that he needs to get stronger, fast, because adapting is his only option. There's so much he wants to ask, but his body isn't ready for that yet.
ほら見せて。
この世界には実に興味深い。
Still, in the middle of all this frustration, there's a part of him that feels happy. His new parents give him moments that feel pure, something his old life never allowed. In his previous world, Arthur never even had the luxury of sleeping peacefully. Assassination attempts came with the job, and every night was another risk. But now, for the first time, he feels something close to peace, and little by little he gets used to it. After days, weeks, and perhaps even months pass, Arthur learns to crawl, and the first thing he does is head straight for a mirror, just to check how handsome he looks. Once he gets used to moving around and has full control of his body, he starts sneaking out of bed whenever his parents aren't watching. His destination is always the library. He picks up books one by one, eager to learn more about this world. That's how he finds out that the continent he was born into is called Dickon. Dickon is made up of 3 kingdoms: the Darv Kingdom, where the dwarves live, the Eleanor Kingdom, hidden deep within a forest and ruled by elves, and finally, the Sapin Kingdom, where humans reside, including Arthur himself. Although Arthur's nation is a monarchy, its throne is inherited, unlike his previous world, where power could be seized by killing the reigning king. Once he's got the basics down, Arthur shifts his focus. He wants to understand magic. So, in a surprisingly cute way, He reaches up and pulls a book on the subject from the shelf. The further he reads, the more he starts comparing this world to his old one. His past life was more advanced, more industrial. This one is simpler, but the presence of magic, or as this world calls it, mana, changes everything. According to the book, mana isn't something just anyone can use. It's passed down through generations and only appears in about 1 out of every 100 people. There are only 2 main forms: augmenting, which enhances the body with mana, and conjuring, which enables one to project and manipulate energy in endless ways. While reading, Arthur recalls the healing magic his mother used earlier, and it clicks. She's clearly a conjurer. According to the book, everyone with mana has a mana core, and most spellcasters only learn to tap into it around puberty. Still, he decides to try. He focuses and channels whatever remnants of his Kai he thinks he still has. And just as he starts feeling something shift, Alice swoops in out of nowhere, picks him up like the precious baby she believes he is, and takes a good look at him. At first, Arthur panics, thinking she's caught on to what he was trying to do. But no, it's worse, because she announces that he's pooped himself again, and the stench confirms it. As Alice takes him to get cleaned up, Arthur lies there in silent agony. He's sick of being trapped in this weak body, and the humiliation is endless. He swears to himself again that he needs to gain power, and fast. Later, Alice spends some quiet time journaling his milestones. She looks out the window, eyes landing on Reynolds outside, swinging a wooden sword with Arthur in his tiny hands. Reynolds calls out to her, beaming as he brags about Arthur's progress. But instead of being impressed, Alice is pissed. She storms outside and scolds him loudly, saying, "It's way too soon for our son to be handling weapons." Reynolds tries to explain, but it's no use. Alice doesn't want her baby playing soldier just yet. In contrast, Arthur absorbs every detail of the scene, using his parents' interactions as a framework to comprehend the complexities of marriage. Though he begins to wonder if perhaps, in this strange new world, women might be the ones really in charge. Later that day, Alice takes Arthur to the market, and everything there blows his tiny mind. Every corner, every sound, every item feels like a brand new piece of information, especially when half this stuff didn't even exist in his old world. He even gets to witness magic being used up close, and that alone makes the whole trip worth it. Then, on the way home, as sleep gradually overtakes him, Arthur reflects on how much his family has supported him. They finally make it back home, and Alice carries Arthur straight to his room. On the way, she talks softly about how proud she is whenever he sneaks out of bed just to read, or how curious he gets every time they go to the market. She's convinced he inherited those traits from Reynolds, and she chuckles to herself, saying he might grow up and run off to explore the world. But deep down, she hopes he gets to live a quieter, safer life. That evening, Arthur sits nearby and watches Reynolds practice magic in the yard. At first, he's excited, thinking he finally has someone to learn from firsthand. He watches as Reynolds lifts a few small rocks with his magic, and that makes Arthur change his mind. But before the disappointment sets in too deep, Alice shows up behind him and assures him Reynolds is just warming up. She tells him to keep watching, and sure enough, Reynolds amps up his mana and starts pulling off some serious moves. Watching all this, Arthur quickly figures out that his father is an augment, someone who uses mana to enhance his physical strength and skills. That gets him fired up, and he starts imagining all the cool tricks he could pull off once he gets his own mana core.
私は幸運だ。父親はオーグメンターだった。
But just as he's getting into the fantasy, Alice scoops him up and tells him it's bedtime. On the way to his room, he spots a book on the shelf and immediately starts pointing at it, whining for her to let him read. She tries to resist, but after a few seconds of watching his adorable face light up, she gives in and lets him read it for a bit. As he flips through the pages, he reminds himself of everything he's learned so far, every little step that might help him form his own mana core. He closes his eyes and starts drawing mana from every part of his body toward a single point. He works diligently, and just when his parents assume he's already fallen asleep, a loud explosion rocks the house. Without hesitation, Reynolds throws himself over Alice and takes the blast across his back. Burned and dazed, he quickly checks that she's okay. When she nods, they both remember Arthur. They run inside, and what they see nearly stops their hearts. Arthur is floating in midair, and he is calmly descending like it's nothing. We see Arthur remembering some events from his old life. Someone had tried to assassinate him. The guards caught the man who was supposed to be executed, but the council showed mercy and decided to deport him and his family, who would share in his crime, to their homeland. While awaiting the final judgment, the man begged the council to show mercy to his family, since the crime was his alone. He was the one who had tried to harm the king. He pleaded with them to spare his family, because returning to their homeland would be like a death sentence. He wanted them to deport only him and leave his family behind. But the council told him he had committed an unforgivable sin. The king, they said, was the light that illuminated the kingdom. They wouldn't listen to his pleas. The judgment is final and will not be changed, they declared. The man begged the king to pardon his family. In a shocking moment, the king executed the man's wife and son before his eyes, leaving him stunned and speechless. Finally, he said, "Thank you, king, for relieving them of their suffering." We then move to the present, where Arthur and his father were preparing for training. Arthur's father flipped him a glove like the one he used, but Arthur wanted to use a wooden sword. His father decided to go along with it and used a wooden stick. During training, Arthur couldn't hit his father. This meant his father had enhanced his stick using magic. The shocking thing was that Arthur managed to enhance his wooden sword too, leaving his father stunned. Arthur broke his father's wooden stick. Afterward, Arthur's father and mother were arguing. His father had decided to bring a real teacher for Arthur, but his mother refused. Arthur's father told her that their son was very talented and needed a strong teacher because I can't teach him anything. She said, "Nya, you and I can teach him some magic." But he replied, "We can't teach him anything." He had managed to break this magic-enhanced stick at only 4 years old. Arthur's mother was shocked, but still opposed the idea, and hugged her son because she didn't want him to study in a distant city. His father said it was for his benefit. To this, his mother replied, "Do you want to abandon your dear son and not keep him by your side?" His father answered, "Of course not. I love him very much and want to stay by his side, but I want what's best for him." She continued to object, and they argued for a long time, until Arthur suggested they all go to the city where he would train. They loved this idea and began packing their things. During this time, they were very happy with their son's abilities, calling him a genius who would go far, while Arthur looked at them with love. Later, a team arrived, and Arthur's father asked him to introduce himself. Arthur introduced himself to one of them, and Adam said, "I've met you before when you were little, and I'm sure you don't remember me." But Arthur was thinking to himself that he did remember him. He said to himself, "These are the Twin Hordes team that my parents belong to." The rest of the team welcomed Arthur and introduced themselves. Finally, a team member named Helen said they were happy to have Arthur join them. They began their journey and rode in a carriage. Arthur was amazed by this transportation method, as it didn't resemble any vehicles from his previous life. Later, they stopped to rest, and Arthur learned they were heading to a city called Axeros. Arthur thought this would be exciting, but then a problem arose. Predatory wolves appeared. The team members stood up and easily defeated the wolves. Arthur was amazed by what he saw. Each team member used their powers to eliminate some wolves. Arthur said the group moved well and used their powers effectively, and he needed to become like them soon.
この世界は安全ではないのだ。アンジェラとダーデンはコンジュラーか。私も早く。
When night fell, they cooked the wolves. Arthur's father told him not to object to the food because they were on a dangerous journey without many comforts. It seemed Arthur's father's hand was injured. When Arthur pointed it out, his father said he hadn't noticed. His mother was about to treat him, but the team members asked her to wait until they could get out of sight. Arthur thought to himself that his mother had special magic and rare abilities, so showing her powers in public wasn't good, as she might be targeted. That's why she lived with his father in the countryside, which offered some privacy. After they finished treating his father, Adam came and told Arthur's father that he wanted to train before sleeping. So he decided to borrow Arthur to train with him. Everyone stood to watch, and Arthur said to himself that this training wouldn't be simple, but he couldn't refuse it. Arthur reminded himself that he was only 4 years old. Then the training began. Adam enhanced his weapon. Arthur thought, it seems he's taking this seriously. So Arthur also enhanced his weapon and his feet. Adam was shocked by this. Then Arthur ran with blinding speed, and everyone was shocked by what they saw, and by Arthur's speed. He was about to fall when Adam seized the opportunity and began to attack. The battle between them was intense. Adam wasn't holding back and knocked Arthur away. One of the team members saved him. The rest of the team scolded Adam for not restraining himself. Adam told them, "You must excuse me. You weren't fighting this little monster." Afterward, one of the female team members came to Arthur with blinding speed and stood beside him. Arthur was shocked, but she asked him how he did that. Arthur looked at her and thought, "I know these looks. They're the looks of someone who won't leave me until they get what they want." After that, they continued their journey. Sometimes they stopped so Arthur could gather more information and train. Occasionally, Arthur would remark that he was learning new things and that his knowledge from his previous life had helped him a lot. This time around, he was training by reinforcing his legs with Jasmine to improve himself, and he also taught her. Jasmine took good care of him and watched over him. But then something unexpected happened. He found out that she knew his birthday and gave him a gift to thank him for what he had taught her. The gift was a dagger, and Arthur jokingly said it seemed she was interested in him. Everyone was surprised because it was rare for Jasmine to show that kind of closeness to anyone. They got ready to continue their journey. While Arthur was talking to his mother, she looked tired. When he asked her what was wrong, she insisted she was fine, but he still felt uneasy. They carried on until Arthur was sitting with his mother, and suddenly the carriage stopped. They were ambushed by bandits. The team tried to fight back, but the bandits had them surrounded from every direction, and the situation looked bad. The bandit leader said, "Don't kill the women or children so their value doesn't drop." Arthur thought to himself, "It seems all worlds have the same problems." All of a sudden, the bandits attacked with full force. Arthur's mother tried to reassure him. The group members charged in with everything they had, taking down the bandits one by one. Arthur noted that his group had the advantage in skill and strength, but the bandits had the advantage in numbers. The group was getting exhausted. Then the bandits struck Arthur's father, knocking him down and injuring him. When Arthur and his mother rushed to help, his father refused, saying his wound wasn't serious, but that things would become more dangerous if anyone discovered her powers. Then Arthur's father asked him to take his mother and run away, but Arthur refused, insisting he was strong enough to fight. His father told him, "If you're going to use your strength, use it to protect your mother, since she's going to have another child soon." At that moment, Arthur remembered everything he had seen and realized what was going on. He finally agreed, took his mother, and started to run. The bandit leader tried to stop him, but Arthur's father attacked the leader and brought him down. The remaining bandits attempted to block Arthur's escape, but the other group members fought them off and cleared a path. As Arthur ran, he thought to himself, "After everything I went through in my previous life, it's come to this. Running away to protect someone. Maybe this is my punishment for what I did."
大丈夫だよ。ママがついてるからね。ありがとう。
He believed he had escaped and that everything was fine, but there was a sorcerer watching them. The sorcerer used his power on them, and Arthur pushed his mother away so she wouldn't be hit, but he was struck by the attack. He nearly fell from the top of the mountain, but he said he wouldn't fall alone. He used the dagger tied to a rope to hit the sorcerer and pull him down too. The group members tried to save Arthur, but couldn't reach him in time. Arthur thought to himself that he hadn't gained anything in this life, but now he understood how someone protecting their family must feel. He finally understood the tears that person shed when they realized they wouldn't see their family again, and grasped the concept of self-sacrifice to save others. He said he had hoped to become a big brother, but it seemed that wasn't going to happen. After that, we see Arthur falling into the forest below, but he survived. Suddenly, a huge creature, the same beast from the previous episode, came close to him, and Arthur was terrified at the sight. Arthur is terrified of the demon. But he is a Chad who won't go down without a fight. He leaps at the demon to attack it but gets flicked away gently. As he gets up, the demon tells him that he still has a lot to learn, and then assures him that she is a friend. Arthur doesn't understand what the hell is going on. and then the demon suddenly starts picking some fruits for him. She tells Arthur that he needs to eat before they can start talking, because she is not going to answer any questions otherwise. Arthur has no choice but to gobble down the fruits, and then he asks the demon if his parents are fine. She shows him a scene of the road where his parents and their friends fought the bandits, and it is full of the dead bodies of the bandits. The demon tells Arthur that everyone he knows is alive, and they continued their journey days ago safely. Arthur is moved to tears as relief fills his heart on hearing this. He then asks the demon her name so that he can thank her properly, and she introduces herself as Sylvia. A few days pass with Arthur still in Sylvia's cave, eating the fruits to sustain himself while his injuries heal. He wants to go to his parents as soon as possible. But Sylvia tells him that it is not so easy, because he will have to go through the forest that is filled with dangerous monsters and outlaws. However, she has another way to unite Arthur with his family, but it involves creating a hole in space-time fabric and takes a lot of time. Arthur understands this, and while Sylvia prepares the hole in space and time, he continues to train his skills. He now understands that even though Sylvia looks like a demon, she is really kind-hearted, and more than that, she cares a lot about him specifically. One day, as Arthur is working on his mana, Sylvia decides to teach him a trick humans don't know. She gathers mana from the air and forms a ball in her hand, surprising Arthur, who has never seen anything like this before. Sylvia tells him most humans think that they can either gather mana or use it. But in nature, many creatures can do both things at the same time. She offers to teach the trick to Arthur, but before that, she wants to know what he will do once he grows stronger after learning it. Arthur thinks long and hard about it, and then declares that once he grows stronger, he will kill everyone who tries to harm his people. But Sylvia doesn't like that answer, and she flicks him away. Arthur gets pissed at this, but Sylvia tells him that he failed her test because she is not going to teach anyone with such deranged, violent tendencies. Arthur is confused by this, because the only thing he learned in his past life was that you get stronger to kill your enemies. However, when Sylvia asks him if he enjoys thinking about violence all the time, Arthur falls silent. Sylvia then tells him that there are other ways to use strength aside from violence, and she wouldn't want him to waste his life on rage and violence. Her words hit a nerve with Arthur, and he feels as if Sylvia knows everything about his past life. She then repeats her initial question and asks what will he do once he gets stronger, and this time Arthur replies that he will protect the people he cares about. Sylvia is pleased with that answer, and she starts teaching Arthur how to use magic while directly gathering it from his surroundings.
憎しみだけが残る。どっちが好き？私もさ。それは暴力として姿を現す。私が助けた命を。さて、質問の時間だ。その力で何をする？
大切な人を守りたい。
Arthur learns it really quickly as well. But just as he runs to show that he can do it to Sylvia, she hits him to the side of the cave and buries him in rocks. Arthur is confused, but Sylvia talks to him via telepathy and tells him not to make any sound. Just moments later, another demon like Sylvia arrives there and tells her to come back with him. She refuses to go with him, so the demon shoots an energy ball at her. Arthur is worried, but Sylvia assures him that she will be fine. She gets up to fight again and unleashes her full power, shattering her demon-like body and transforming into a white dragon. She then shoots a hyper beam at the demon, who can barely block it. He warns her that using such a great power will cost her greatly, but Sylvia tells him that she has no regrets with her life. The demon somehow cancels her attack and then bombards her with his dark energy balls, some of which hit the cave. Sylvia gets distracted as she tries to confirm Arthur's safety, and the demon decides to knock her out with a big attack. Sylvia realizes that Arthur will come under danger because of this danger, so she decides to risk it all so that he can escape. She uses all her power to stop time and then calls Arthur outside, telling him that he needs to go home now. She opens a hole in space and time, telling him that it won't take him directly to his family, but now he is strong enough to survive on his own while he searches for them. Arthur realizes that Sylvia is sacrificing herself for him, and his heart breaks because of that. But she makes him promise to use his power to protect the people he loves. She then gives him some parting gifts in the form of a crystal egg and a feather, asking him to take good care of it. After that, she kisses Arthur, and suddenly he gets golden tattoos on both his arms. Sylvia tells him that he will learn their meaning and purpose when the right time comes, but for now, it is farewell. She then tells him that she didn't really need all this time to prepare a portal to send him home, and she delayed the process on purpose because she enjoyed the few days she spent with him. Arthur starts crying on hearing this, and then he realizes that he is not strong enough to protect her right now, even though he promised that he would protect everyone he loves. Sylvia tells him that their promise doesn't apply in this situation and tells him to hurry. He tells her that he doesn't care if she is a dragon or a demon, because she is family to him, and you never leave family behind. Sylvia tells Arthur that he already has a mom, so he decides to call her grandma, and the dragon starts crying on hearing that. She then nudges Arthur to the portal, and he takes the egg and the feather with him. But just as he enters the portal and turns back to say a final goodbye to Sylvia, he finds himself getting dragged away.
おいで、アーサー。私の力さ、前よりシルビアらしく見える？急がないとね。ちょっと離れた場所に繋がったみたい。チビのアーサー、約束だよ。
でも
アーサー、いくつか渡すものがある。これで終わり。
守れないんだね。せっかくシルビアに教えてもらったのに。シルビアは大切な家族だ。ばあば、
ありがとう。
やっぱり嫌だよ。
Once he is gone, Sylvia releases her power and returns the time in the cave to normal, immediately getting hit by the demon's attack. She falls to the ground, but as he walks towards her, confident about his victory, Sylvia pulls a fast one on him, blasting him with her full power at point-blank range. On the other hand, Arthur is traveling through the portal where he hears Sylvia's voice again. She tells him that it is okay to be sad, but he should work hard to turn that sadness into happiness one day. Arthur tells her that he can't do it, but Sylvia says that she knows he can do it because he was the strongest king in history. Arthur is shocked to hear that she knows about his previous life, and he wants to ask Sylvia if she was the one who brought him to this world. But before he can do that, he exits the portal. After Arthur is done crying about Sylvia, he gets up and places the crystal egg inside his pouch. He then looks around to find that he is in a dense forest full of dangers. This is the end of The Beginning After the End, Episode 2. Thank you so much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with our latest content. See you in the next video.